Hey, what's up, everybody? It's December 3rd, 2019, which means we are ready for this week's TNT Tuesday. Hey, if you haven't had a chance, go ahead and take a look at the episode from last week. We were creating an ice scraper. We were just creating that on the fly. We were getting very inventive with Inventor and just sort of throwing out numbers of just, some general dimensions of what we kind of think it is, and we just sort of made it look like it does, and this is what we kind of came up with. All right, so the second part today is we have to go out there and create a handle that's going to slide onto the end of that. It's just going to be a rubber handle. We're going to add some features to it, but yeah, that's really kind of it. So let's just go ahead, let's get started. What I'm doing is I'm pulling up the actual plastic scraper part of this first, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here and start a 2D sketch right here on top of the handle. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and just project geometry. I'm doing that because what I want to do is go ahead and just grab this. I'm going to go ahead and copy that, and now I'm going to come out here and create a standard edge IPT. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just start a sketch on a plane. I'm going to right click and just go ahead and just paste that out there, okay, onto that work plane. All right, so where this tapers off, that's going to be where the actual blade is. So I want my handle actually to fall short, just to right here. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and just trim this out. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim that out. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that hole. All right, so I want my thickness of my handle to be about 1/8 of an inch beyond the actual plastic part of the blade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here and do an offset, and I'm just going to pick on this. Now when I'm going to offset and you're seeing everything selected, if I right click while I'm in offset, that means loop select is on. All right, I know I've done that in a couple episodes. Nobody's called me out on it, but in case you're not getting that to work, just know while you're in offset, just do the right click and you can get loop select right there. You can make sure to check that, and now offset's going to behave like it does. So I'm going to come out here and just type in 0.125. I'm going to go ahead and just finish that sketch. I'm going to go ahead now and use Extrude. I'm going to grab all that profile. I'm going to do a symmetrical extrusion. All right, so here's just a little bit of math. All right, so the thickness of the actual blade itself, if you remember from last week, is 0.2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 0.2, and then we have to go out there and we have to add in both sides of the actual thickness, which is 1/8 of an inch. So if we have two 0.125s, that's 0.25, which means our extrusion is like 0.45. I'm going to go ahead and just say OK on that. All right, so at this point in time, what we can do is go ahead and just flip this around. I want to be looking at this side. I can go to shell. I'm going to go ahead and remove this side of it, and I'm going to make sure that my thickness on this is 0.125. All right, just like so. I'm going to say OK. Okay, now what we can do is come out here and do a fillet. I'm going to grab that entire loop. I'm going to go ahead and just add my fillet radius, which is 0.125, like so. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. So that has rounded that over. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is come out here and grab hole feature. I'm going to be making sure that this is concentric. I'm going to come out here and pick on a face, and then right here where it says concentric reference, all I have to do is just come over here to this edge, make sure that's in the center, and the hole diameter on this one is 0.25. I say OK. All right, so there we go. We got our hole going all the way through that. All right, so I do want to go ahead and give myself a little bit of grip on this side. So I'm going to start a 2D sketch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here, use project geometry like so. I'm going to come into my slot feature. I'm going to track this off the midpoint. And I'm going to go ahead and just bring this up however far. Once again, no dimensions, right? And I'm going to go ahead and just make that grip the way I want it to. I'm going to go ahead and finish the sketch. All right, and now what I'm going to do is go ahead and do extrude. So I'm going to go ahead and extrude this up a distance of 0.0625, about 1/16 of an inch. Okay, just like so. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to go back into fillet. I'm going to come up here to the edge on this one, and I'm going to go ahead and just bring that down to like, a 32nd of an inch, or 0.03125, and say OK on that. All right, so I need more than obviously one grip. And so what I'm going to do is come out here and grab a rectangular pattern. I'm going to be making sure I grab both the extrusion and the actual fillet. I'm going to come to my red arrow for direction 1. I'm just going to pick on one of these edges right here, making sure that is going in the right direction. And I'm just going to tell, hey, I want this to be, like 25 of these. And now I can come in here and start fudging my numbers. So they're about 1/4 inch apart. That's good spacing. 25 was probably too much. Let's just back this down to 23. Okay, and I can see in the preview that's going to go all the way down the handle just like so. Looking pretty good. All right, now what I'm going to do is I want grip to be on both sides, so I'm going to come out here to plane. I'm going to pick on the top plane. I'm going to flip this over, grab the bottom plane, and now we have, okay, that bisector plane is going right down the center of this. All right, now we can come out here to mirror. I can make sure to grab both the first one and that entire rectangular pattern I just used. Come to my red arrow for mirror plane, go ahead and pick on that and say okay, and now that has been flipped over to the other side just like so. I'm going to come in here and turn off the work plane on this. All right, so in this case I'm going to come out here and add some material to it. So that's going to be a rubber handle, so I'm going to come down here and find rubber. Then I'm going to come out here and do the color override. I want there to be some good contrast with this, and what I'm going to do is find red. All right, so that's going to be a high visibility material on the end of that, so we can find that in our trunk. All right, so there you go, grip is done. All right, so what I'm going to do is real quickly I'm going to come out here and just do a save as, and I'm going to call this one ice scraper handle for TNT. I'm going to go ahead and do a save. All right, so I have my scraper and I have my handle there ready to go. Now it's time for go into the assembly. So I go ahead and hit create. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to place my ice scraper first. And once that drops in, we'll make sure that is grounded. I'm now going to come out here and go to place. I'm going to bring in my ice scraper handle, drop that in. Now we can start constraining this. So I'm just going to go ahead and just nudge this in the right direction first. Okay, it looks pretty good. And now what I'm going to do is come out here, go to constrain. I'm going to zoom all the way in here, and I'm going to say I want that face to mate up with this face. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. I'm going to go ahead and pull the handle off. And now I'm going to look at the bottom side of the handle, because I want to just creep in here and grab this face right here. I want to make sure that that is going to mate with the top of the actual handle itself. Hit apply. All right, so I don't know what people's obsession is when it comes to constraining. We have to make sure that these two holes are lined up, and people will go out here and try figuring out how to get in there. Just drag this thing off. That's all you have to do. Now we can simply go in here and do a constrain, and I'm just going to say I want the inside of this hole, that axis, to mate up with this axis right here. Hit apply. All right, so there we go. That is our assembled ice scraper. Now there's a couple things I forgot last time. All right, I want to go out here and personalize this for my own school. So I don't know if you know this, but you can just simply double click on a part while you're in an assembly. It's going to take you to that actual part. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here and I'm just going to start a 2D sketch right here on top of this handle. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here and insert an image. I'm going to be looking for my school's logo, like so. I'm going to drop that in. All right, and now what I'm going to do is come out here and I'm just going to manipulate this. I can rotate and move and do whatever it is I got to do. And I can just come out here and just make this the size that I want. I can drag this into place. And I'm going to say that that is approximately the middle right there. Finish that sketch. Now what I can do is come out here and go to decal, pick on the image, pick on the face I want that to go on, and go ahead and hit OK. So we can see our logo is there. I'm going to go ahead and do a save. Get back into my assembly. All right, there we go. The one thing I did leave off on this was I forgot to turn off that sketch. So let's turn that off. There we go. Jump back into the assembly. All right, and there we go. So we have the logo on there. Last part of this I want to do is go out there and actually put some sort of a strap on this. And we're going to use a top-down approach on this one. What I am going to have to do on this one is make sure if there's a plane going right through the center of the actual blade. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go up to my origin folder, and I believe, yep, this plane right here is going right down the center of that. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn that on like so. We can see it's going right down the center of it. Jump back into my assembly. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and go to create. I'm just going to make sure that this is saved in the right location that my other parts are. And I'm just going to say this is the ice scraper strap for TNT. All right, it's in the same location as the others, so I'm going to go ahead and say OK. All right, and now all I have to do is just go ahead and pick on this work plane. I can go ahead and just start a sketch on that. Oops, looks like I missed it. Create ice scraper strap. Say OK. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just pick on that work plane. Start a 2D sketch. I'm going to be making sure I am on the same work plane. There we go. All right, so right what we see here, this little shaded area, that is actually where the strap is going to go through. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to use spline. I found that interpolation is the one that you want to use. I'm going to start here above this, and I'm just going to take that strap and I'm going to send that right through the hole. And then I'm going to come out here and just zoom out. I'm going to be making sure that this strap is large enough where I can get my hand through it. Okay, like so. I'm going to bring that in to join it up. I'm going to go ahead and say OK and finish the sketch. Go to plane. I'm just going to come here to one of these nodes right here, pick on the node itself, and then pick on the actual profile or the path it's going to be following. Alright, now what I'm going to do is right click on the plane. I can see I'm looking at the back of it since it's blue. Right click on that, go to flip normal, and now I can come out here and start a 2D sketch right there on that plane. Alright, so I'm going to come right here to where the axes cross. That is the dead center of my work plane. And now this time what I'm going to do is come in here and use 2-point center rectangle. I'm going to come right here to the center of this. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and just pop in my dimensions. So that is 1/8 of an inch by 1/8 of an inch. We're just going to make this a leather strap. I'm going to go ahead and finish the sketch. And now what I'm going to do is come out here and go to sweep. And I'm going to come here to my profile and then just pick on the actual path it's going to be following. Alright, and it's going to create that strap. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. Alright, so there's the leather strap. I'm going to come up here and go into my list of materials. I'm in the Autodesk material library. I'm going to come down here, and believe it or not, leather is actually one of the materials that's available. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply leather to it. I'm going to go ahead and hit return. I'm back in my assembly. All right, and there we go. So I can come in here just real quick. I'm going to turn off everything so we can take a look at it. All right, but there we go. That is every Midwesterner's friend. All right, just being very inventive with Inventor. I'm creating a lot of stuff on the fly, just throwing some dimensions out there that are sort of in my mind. I did a little top-down assembly, added decal really to customize it. Okay, but there you go. That is the ice scraper for this week's TNT Tuesday. That's the second part. Thank you, Mr. Chris Derrick, for that idea. Everybody have a great week.